right, guys, welcome back to the Endless Endeavor. Another solo episode today. I know we've had a lot of solo episodes lately, and hey, sometimes such is life. I'm busy with a lot of other things. We're going to get into that shortly, but I do want to announce next week you will be tuning in with myself, and for the first time, Jennifer Anderson, my wife, and her wealth coach, Jeremy Newsom, is going to be back on. So by the time you hear this, that'll already have been recorded, and it will be the following episode after this one. Really excited because I know we've talked about it before, but I just want to reiterate here before we kind of go into today's theme. I want to reiterate there is a path to financial freedom. There is. Jeremy has not only built the path, but he's walked it. He is there now, and his passion is teaching others to do it. And he will tell you the game of wealth happens in one of two arenas that he says can be something that you can learn and start to understand and start to succeed in. And that is the game of real estate and the game of the stock market. And the reason I say game, guys, is because now that we are 9 months deep into his program and it's already returned. So Jenny has turned about 13K into 90K in that amount of time. The reason I say game is because I watch her do it all the time. Now, I do not have a comprehensive understanding of what's taking place whatsoever. So I'm not going to pretend to. I have a very rudimentary understanding of what she's doing. But it is part of being present, watching the trends, looking at charts. Like, make no mistake, I'm not saying this method is easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of knowledge. But once you lean into that knowledge and you start to understand this game, that's what it feels like she's playing. She's watching the charts. She's being very, very cognizant of what all the different stocks that she is potentially going to trade are doing. And it allows her to really have a game that she gets to play, really, that generates a ton of money too. Now, let me say this too, because, we talk about trading hours for dollars, and that's the thing that we want to try and avoid. Jenny is not investing a ton of time. Like, it's like she picks up her phone a few times a day and plays a game of Tetris, but instead she's managing her portfolio. And so, again, up front, there was a lot of time, a lot of commitment, learning these things and learning these methods. But once you start to have, obviously, it's like jujitsu. The better you become, kind of the less effort you have to put forth during live rolls. Unless what? Unless you come against somebody that is as formidable as you. But that is Jeremy's method. He says 98% of traders on the stock market are white belts. He's going to build you into a purple belt. And then from there, what do purple belts do to white belts? 99 times out of 100, they have their way with them. And so I'm excited to have him up here. He's doing an open house at the gym. I announced that on Instagram. It'll have already occurred by the time you're hearing this, so there's no real point in putting it out, other than just to share he's a normal dude that likes to interact with normal people. And when you feel his energy, you realize it's like sitting down in the room with one of us, except he's figured out a way to generate more money than most of our minds can comprehend. 100K a day traders are a real thing. And I want all of us to just think about how much effort did we give as police officers, as firemen, as teachers, any of them. If you're in the trades, framing houses, digging ditches, plumbing, how many fucking hours of blood, sweat, and tears, and the emotional ups and downs of a lot of those professions as well, did we have to endure for $100,000? When I was a police officer in Seattle, that was about an annual salary. So you're waking up at I woke up at 3:30 a.m. for my shift that started at 5. We worked 12s, and that was my life. And again, I'm not here to portray that as a bad life or something that wasn't a necessary part of my journey. And guys, if you love what you do, I still recommend you pursue financial freedom. Then you're doing what you love out of passion and not out of a need. As soon as something becomes a need, now it just carries a different energy, right? And so take the time to listen to his episode next week and really understand this is working for everybody I know that is. And I know when something sounds too good to be true, it's like, oh, this is a pyramid scheme. This is some bullshit, right? Well, the caveat to that I keep reiterating to people is it's very difficult. It's like jujitsu, guys. Jujitsu becomes a superpower once you put in enough work and it works. You arrive at a point and it works. And that's the same thing with this. It's difficult. It's hard. It takes a lot of commitment. You keep showing up. And I've seen it with my wife now. And then she has that moment where it's like, click. Oh, I see. And it's the same shit I see on the mats. People are putting themselves through this comprehensive course. And guys, when I say comprehensive, I'm not talking about the math. Jeremy always reiterates, 2nd grade math is all that is required to do his work. But there's a lot of strategy behind the 2nd grade math. And it's just like jujitsu. There's a lot of strategy. I can show you the moves, right? But there's a lot of strategy behind those moves to be able to implement them and make them start to work for you. And that's what we're seeing. And he told me, he said, your girl will be a 100K a day trader. That's how good she is. And she doesn't even see that value in herself yet, which is very normal, right? If you guys are coaches out there, a lot of times your best talent doesn't see it in themselves yet. And that's okay. It's a self-discovery journey, right? And so, yes, I'm excited. I mean, I don't want to be fucking rich for any other reason than to be free. I'm going to continue to drive a 4Runner. I plan on getting a nicer house, obviously. That's always something that's probably on the horizon as we start to generate more wealth. But outside of going out and doing big adventures, because big adventures cost money, and that's what we're going to talk about next, right? Outside of that, I think my lifestyle is going to remain almost identical to what it is now. And so check out next week. I can't encourage you enough. All right, enough on that. I want you guys to take a dive with me on my Row West journey that I've put together. You know, I touched on it a week or two ago with Will, and I think I kind of unpacked it, but this episode is about that. So we're just going to go forth, and I'm going to talk about the mission and why we're doing it. Me and Tyler were talking, and we were looking out over the water, and we were just saying, like, what is it? What is that thing that's inside of you that you look out over? It can be a mountain. It can be the horizon. For me and Tyler, we feel it very strong when we look out over the open water, look out over the ocean. There's something inside of you that says, go explore that way. What can you find over there? Why do we climb mountains? Why do we cross oceans? And even though the world is small now, there's not a lot of unknown. You know, we can fucking zoom in on any square meter of planet Earth now and have a pretty comprehensive understanding of where we live and what we occupy. But there's also an equal amount of unknown because the unknown can come in the journey. So, sure, I know Hawaii's there, and I know that's our destination. And I'm going to have maps that can take me there. I'm going to have GPS. I'm going to have Starlink so I can communicate with the outside world. I understand from a technological standpoint, we have a vast advantage over the men and women that endured such journeys before us. You know, we're all drawn to watch Vikings where they just get in their boats and they start sailing west. Let's see what we can find. There's a different energy to that for sure. It's a lot more. I mean, I think it's a very, very courageous task to fully step into the unknown. And I am not, that fact is not lost on me, obviously. If it was, I would just get in a boat without anything and go out in the ocean and see what happens. But I'm doing this the correct way. I'm taking advantage of the technology that we have, and I am going to make sure that I do this as safely as humanly possible. Now, you want to do it safely, but Mother Nature's still Mother Nature, and the unknown exists. And the ocean can do what the ocean wants to do to any boat. That's why you don't talk about boats being unsinkable, right? And the boat that we purchased is foam core. It's neutrally buoyant. You can hold it underwater and fill the cabins up, and it's supposed to pop back to the surface. But again, Mother Nature can do kind of whatever it wants, whenever it wants. Another fact that is not lost on me. For me, the excitement of this is not only in the journey itself. What's it going to be like out there? What's the weather going to be? How's my body going to feel? What's the dynamic of the team going to entail? Like, there's so much living that's going to happen, that the journey is what I cannot wait for. We need to journey as men from time to time. And it's an important part of something that's deep inside of our DNA that I don't think we explore enough. And when me and Tyler were looking out over that water and saying, hey, what about the water makes us want to go that way? It just kind of hit us. And we said, you know what? Let's go find out. Let's go fucking do it. And I said, that's really all I needed to hear. You guys have been listening. For those of you that have been listening for a long time, I've wanted to circumnavigate the globe on a sailboat long before the Endless Endeavor even existed. So this is just kind of exploring a different avenue of that. I landed on rowing because how can you take an arduous journey and really, really exemplify and highlight physical challenge behind that as well? I think anybody that crosses an ocean is going to face mental and emotional challenges because it's just you out there. You're in your own prison, but you're also fucking free simultaneously. And people are going to handle that lots of different ways. That is an exciting aspect of this journey. But then I thought, man, what if you did what some of those other teams have done and you just said, fuck a sail, fuck a motor, let's row. And I watched a team of guys do it over last summer. They went from New York to London. And the whole time I was every reel that would pop up on my feed, I'd say, God, that's something I'd like to do. How fucking cool would that be? And it got to the point where, man, I'm going to be 45 when I'm out on the ocean. This might be my last opportunity to really lean into some big expeditions where my body's still strong as fuck and really capable. I don't know what my 50s and 60s are going to look like. Maybe I save sailing for those days. Let Mother Nature power my vessel. But something about adding that just monumental physical challenge into the adventure, it felt right. And so I started researching. And let me say this too. The thing that motivated me to start researching was what? The commitment to the journey. Me and Tyler committed to each other. We're doing this journey. Once the commitment was made, it was like this new energy inside of me. Yes. Fuck, I have to go learn. I have to start sending emails. I'm going to have to start researching. And I'm going to have to start getting in fucking gnarly shape. So right out of the gates, I had mission, I had purpose, I had things to pursue. I've been rowing like a wild animal for, I think today's day 11. And it's crazy because inside of 11 days of rowing, I have watched my fitness improve substantially. And it's been a long time since I felt that as an athlete. You know, jiu-jitsu requires a tremendous amount of technique. So it's hard to feel those massive increases in your physical fitness quickly because there's so many other factors. But when you're doing like timed rowing, timed runs, things on the assault bike where it's like fucking data is right here, it's clear, I understand where I was and now I understand where I am. And I've already done a couple max effort rows And I came in just under 7,000 meters last time. And they say anything above 7,000 meters for a half-hour row is good. And by they, I mean the internet. So I'm progressing fast, and we're just getting started, which makes me happy. I want to be in as best shape as I can be in come May when we leave. And so that's an important thing to have in our lives, guys. Something to pursue. Something to give you the why behind what the fuck you're showing up for day in and day out. And I have a great why for jiu-jitsu. I do. And I'm sitting in it right now. You know, we shut memberships down for the classes for ages 5 to 9 the day before yesterday because we're having so much success, right? But what I was finding is, as much as I love jiu-jitsu and as much as I will continue to pour into jiu-jitsu, I wanted a new challenge. Something I needed to pursue fitness in a different way. And I needed to put something in front of me that would help me strive towards that. I've never been good, and I bet this goes for most of us. I've never been good at showing up and working out and staying consistent unless there was a mission behind my fitness. And having a mission behind, and fighting in jiu-jitsu has for big periods of time been the mission behind my fitness. Being a ranger, there's a mission behind your fitness. But over this last year, I've struggled. Outside of jiu-jitsu, I train hard jiu-jitsu still. But outside of jiu-jitsu, I was struggling doing the things I needed to do to keep my body at optimal operating levels. I'm a little fatter than I like to be. I'm a little slower than I like to be. And I'm not saying that in a self-deprecating manner. That's data. But I know that now that I have something in front of me, it'll get me right back into that savage mode. And it already has. Like, I'm not missing workouts for anything. I'm waking up early if I have to, staying at the gym after practice late. I now have that fire inside of me. We have to have a mission to ignite that fire. If you're just fucking going about your day as a routine, even if your routine is cool, even if you like your routine, I think sooner or later that spark starts to fizzle, and now that routine becomes mundane. And so find a mission. What does that mission look like? Does it have to be fucking something that all your friends and family will look at you and say, are you fucking nuts? Does it have to be there? No. It could be. Maybe that would be beneficial for you right now. But we have to put something in front of us. And so after putting this in front of me and this fire is turned on, the workouts are like something I look forward to. Now, the next thing is it's given me focus outside of my physical preparation. It's making me start to research weather patterns, current patterns, timelines, figuring out lessons learned from other people. I even connected with a guy named Jack Jarvis. Go look at him. He's a fucking monster. He rode across the Atlantic solo, and it took him 111 days. I mean, try and wrap your head around that. 111 days by yourself in a rowboat from London to Florida. And, dude, I talked to him for 90 minutes on Zoom, and he was just imparting so much knowledge on the team that it was like, fuck yeah, you're excited. You're like a kid again. You're a kid, and you're investing in a new endeavor. It's like the first time you pick up your guitar, and it's kind of like, ooh, I like this thing. That's what I'm feeling about this. And so researched boats, and what we landed on is a boat called the Ronick 45. They specialize in ocean rowboats. And the boat that I landed on has 3 rowing positions and then 2 cabins, small cabin at each end. Each cabin has a sleeping quarters, so a teammate can nap while the other teammates are working, and you work around the clock. And that is how these ocean voyages work. how Jack did it. He did it solo, obviously, but he's also done another crossing with a 4-man team. So he talked to us about the dynamics of that. And he recommended each man do a 3-hour shift on, 3-hour shift off. But you stagger the swap times in the 90-minute interval. So every 90 minutes, a new rower is sitting in a row position to row for his 3 hours. And he said that way you get a strong person on the oars every 90 minutes instead of having two people fully start fresh and then fizzle out together and then repeat that for 60 days. He found the staggering to be more advantageous. I'm telling you, I would love to get that guy on the podcast. Hopefully we will. His next thing he's currently preparing for is running from Beijing back to London. So yes, he's one of those guys. But I've always looked at those guys and had admiration for them. There's something about dudes that go out and just do wild, wild shit. It's like, fuck, man. I would love to do something like that. And so it's time to do it. The talk is over. And it's not like I've talked a big game and haven't done it. So I shouldn't even say the talk is over. But the thought process of hopefully becoming a person that can do these things, that is now coming to a conclusion because this thing is now in front of me. The Ronick 45 is a boat that has 2 solar panels on it. I'm just going to talk you through what I know about the boat, which is not a lot right now, but people always ask questions about it. So I'm just going to talk you guys through it. It has 2 solar panels to run some small electronic components like the Starlink, like the GPS, plug in our phones to be able to record the journey, those type of things. But there is no power source, all right? The power source is the solar panels that obviously charge lithium batteries into a battery bank. And then we're going to have to figure out how to utilize our electronics based on how much power the boat is generating. All food that will be consumed on the trip comes with us. So you pack the cabins filled with freeze-dried food. So it's like that shit you take when you're mountaineering, or for those of you that have went into outer space, the astronaut food. I'm sure Endless Endeavor has tons of astronauts that listen. And then the boat comes with what's called a desalinator. And so it's a pump that pumps water from the ocean, desalinates it to fresh drinking water. That's what we use to drink. And then that's also what we use to pour into those meals to rehydrate them before consumption. You're burning around 8,000 calories a day out there. And they said they were trying to eat at least 5. So, I mean, you're in a massive deficit. You're going to start losing weight right away because I think I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it's almost impossible to eat 8,000 calories a day. And so we'll find out. I'm sure there's some bodybuilders listening like, I eat 20,000 a day. I was like, okay, yeah. But dude, I am excited to be able to go out there and just fucking put that stress on my body. I'm going to be in a deficit. I'm going to be working hard hours. I'm probably going to feel hungry and dehydrated and all those things that happen when you just do fucking daunting shit. But that's also what I'm kind of excited about. That is the journey. If the journey were enjoyable and you could just fucking sit back and row your way to Hawaii, everybody'd be doing it. The reason everybody's not doing it is because it's going to be fucking hard. And you know, my dad told me when I was a little boy, bro, if everybody's going to the right, you go to the left. And that was one of his most profound pieces of knowledge he imparted on me because it's the truth. What everybody else is doing is typically not what's going to serve you best. What everybody else is doing is the comfortable path, the easy path, the path that doesn't have what? Unknowns. Unknowns are the thing that ruffle feathers. Unknowns are the things that cause fear. And where I've landed on fear, this is not a mid-roll ad, but these new elements, the smaller ones, I wish they were the same size as the big ones, but they have some new flavors. And the pineapple, fucking amazing. But where I've landed on fear, guys, is this. Because I've been in some pretty fucked up situations where at times I didn't feel much fear. But you know what I felt? I felt excitement. And I think fear and excitement are almost one and the same. It just depends on what lens you want to view it through. And so for me, when I look at things like that, what does fear cause? When you're afraid, you're kind of reclusing back into yourself. You're going inward. You're diminishing your power. You're not expanding your power. That, like, fear brings out a more diminished version of yourself. Whereas excitement is like, it's the opposite. It's expanding. It's power. It's like, yes, give me more. And I think a lot of times the same incident can elicit one of two emotions, being fear or excitement, depending on not only what you've subjected yourself to in the past, but more importantly, what you have come to, the conclusions you have come to with yourself. Like having those conversations, choosing to be someone that confronts things and strives to persevere through difficult things. You can reach a point where when scary shit happens, it's like, here we go. And it's not ego. I know I've had some people reach out to me and be like, yeah, I forget what one guy said, but it was along the lines of, why would anybody feel like they need to do this? And then at the end, he said, you do you, bro. And I didn't even respond back to him because it's like, well, no shit. What do you think I'm going to do? Suddenly start living your life? I'm already doing me, motherfucker. Like, and I'm going to continue to do me, regardless of whether you recommend it to me or not. People are fucking retarded. But I think some people think there's ego behind this journey. And anything that we do that is fucking gnarly, like climbing big mountains or sailing across oceans, I'm not going to say there's no ego in it. The ego wants to conquer. The ego wants to go out there and show that I can do that. Me, I fucking did that. So I get there's probably an element of ego in it, but I'm also in a place in my life where I'm not doing this to prove it to really anybody but myself. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be proud to show my children and my community, like, dude, look what I went out here. I set a goal and I went and did it. I'm not saying that won't bring me pride, but this is more for me than anybody else. And I know that's why my wife is so supportive of it. Like, she likes the idea of this. She knows that I need this, right? But also, I've also had other people say, like, dude, are you going out there to kill yourself? And if I was in that dark place where I wanted to end my life, I wouldn't be taking a team of guys with me. And that's the truth. If I wanted to go out there and see if the ocean could fucking kill me, and that was my plan, like, fucking do it. Fucking go out there, fucking kill me. If that was the energy that I wanted to go confront the ocean with, I would do it solo. And for some of you guys listening, you probably think that sounds nuts. Like, that would actually be something that would be in my brain. But since I think everybody that fucking consumes this show is cut from a similar cloth, because I've talked to so many of you guys over the last 5 years, and it's like instant homies. Pursuing your own death can have a romantic aspect to it. It can. And so there's something about, like, when people ask me, are you going out there to try and kill yourself? I actually get what they're saying. There's a part of me that's like, okay, yeah, I could see myself doing that depending on where I was at mentally and just what version of me was showing up. But I promise you, it's not the case with this one. I wouldn't jeopardize the life of men that I love over my own battle with myself. That would not be the right thing to do. And so we're still thinking about, like, where exactly do we launch from? What exact date makes the most sense? There's so many things to unpack that, again, it's all part of the mission. It's part of having purpose. And then, again, like what we talked about a couple weeks ago, is consequences if the best version of you doesn't show up. If we don't take the time to be very meticulous in our planning, the voyage will be a failure and likely have catastrophic consequences. You don't take the time to be meticulous with all of the aspects of planning, that will come back to bite you in the ass. And I think a lot of us thrive in a high consequence environment. And that's why I think like putting things in front of you that have consequences force you to show up. And I'm excited to be able to like go through the checklist and make sure and double and triple check and make this into something that if I don't show up each and every day, there could be a catastrophic consequence on the other side of all this. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. I know that about myself. And that's one of the reasons why I think men like us put these crazy things in front of us. It forces the right version of you to show up and be present. And presence, guys, fuck, man. It could be a whole other episode because I think presence is where we as human beings are operating at our pinnacle. When we are present, we are engaging what is literally right in front of us. What we can hear, touch, smell, feel, see, like right in front of us. And this can be good things or bad things. It can be warfare or it can be tending crops. It could be creating something. It could be building a house. Like things that force you to be in the moment. I talked about this on an Instagram reel a couple weeks ago because people say like the future is, what is it? The past is depression and the future is anxiety to a degree, right? I think we have to be able to reflect and look back on things that occurred and take lessons learned from them. But I don't think we need to be dwelling. And guys, I'm saying this as a dweller. I'm not saying I have it figured out. I'm saying as someone that has done a lot of dwelling this last year, and I think this is what I've come to define as dwelling. If you're thinking about a circumstance or an occurrence, but you don't have the ability to change it any longer, that starts to become dwelling. Whereas if you have the ability to potentially affect the outcome, now that starts to move towards planning, right? I think we start to dwell in things when it's like, man, that's the past. It's not changing. And then you start to play the fucking coulda, shoulda, woulda game. Gets you nowhere. And what I found is the best way to get out of that cycle is to put something in front of you that keeps you present. And the same thing with the future. We can't just completely neglect what tomorrow may bring. Planning is an important aspect of being a human being. If you didn't plan, 200 years ago, you didn't cut enough firewood, you froze to death. So planning is a part of what we do. But around both of those ends of being a human being, meaning our past and our future, I think occupying the present in the middle is where the human experience is experienced at its pinnacle. And it's another reason why I wanted to put this particular journey ahead of me, because you have to be present pretty much all waking hours. When in your life have you had to be present and connected to the moment that you are currently sitting in for fucking 70 days straight? I mean, the answer for all of us is none of us have been there, because if you're listening to this show, there's a good chance you are commuting somewhere, you're sitting down, or you're in a place where you can kind of go, so let me listen to something, instead of you being actively engaged in what's happening. And there's probably a couple listeners that are fucking doing some wild shit listening to us right now. So maybe you guys are the exclusion to that rule. But regardless, guys, find something that keeps you present. And that's what's calling. That's why this is calling to me. What else is there about the boat that people have been asking questions? There is no sail. There is no emergency engine, but we will have comms, meaning we will be able to communicate with the outside world in real time. The boat will have a tracker on it. Each individual survival suit will also have a tracker on it in the event you did have to go overboard and start fucking floating around in your survival suit. There's tracking beacons on those as well. There's tracking beacons on the emergency boat that you got the little can, the inflatable one, the inflatable rafts that are supposed to hold you for however many days. But again, it all goes back to planning. I don't know if there's much more about the boat that I know. I'm finalizing the deal. It's like everything in life. It was supposed to be last week, and then it was this week, and now it's looking like it'll probably get pushed one more week. But that's not your guys' concern. That's mine. When I know more, you'll know more. I think it's going to be a cool thing to be able to walk through this journey and share it with the people that share a like mind with us and our crew. Speaking of those inflatable boats, I'm listening to a book right now called Adrift, where a guy's boat sank. He popped his inflatable raft and he floated around on it for 77 days. That is another aspect of something that is calling to me. Don't get me wrong. If I could choose have the voyage be successful or have the boat sink and then have to live on an inflatable raft, I don't think I would choose that by any stretch. But listening to this book is really fascinating me on just how many lessons are learned from being pushed to the absolute brink in a survival scenario. And that's what makes us show up, man. Me and Jenny are listening to it. It's an audiobook. And I said to her, I wonder how many people listen to this and almost have like a sense of jealousy from it. The fucking shit that this guy is going through is gnarly, but there's still an element of it's like, fuck, man. Part of me yearns to see how far I can be pushed. And maybe, who knows? Could happen to any one of us at any time for any reason. But when people persevere through massive adversity, I love listening to those tales. The last thing I'm going to touch on before I wrap it up, nice short episode today. I got shit to do. A lot of work happening on the book, which is going to be coming out pretty quick. But I wanted to talk about the female's reaction to you wanting to go out and do wild shit. As you can imagine, a journey like this is kind of unexpected to certain people, right? And some people's reactions to Jenny have been like, how are you letting him do this? Why would you encourage your husband to do something like this? Like, what is he thinking? And my wife had a really good response to one of her friends. And she said, I know who I married, and I liked him for who he was. I liked him for being a man that was a protector, was capable, was adventurous, was willing to step up when other people won't. She goes, so you can't pursue one of those type of men and then after you marry them, expect to tame them. They're not meant to be tamed. And so I want you guys to think about that. Like, we can't allow our women to stifle the fucking that fire that's inside of us that wants adventure. But at the same time, make sure we don't stifle theirs either. Do you understand what I mean by that? Like, my wife is gone as we speak. She's in Arizona for the weekend with her girlfriends. And I'm not concerned at all what she's doing. Go to Arizona. Go have fun. Go fucking do whatever you want. Like, I give her freedom because she gives me freedom. And I would never want to be that husband that's like, you better check in with me. And if I don't hear from you, like, none of that stuff. But I think it's an important thing for women to understand is like, dude, for those of you that chase warriors and you want alpha energy in the household, alpha energy comes with men seeking adventure. And you never want to put your man in a place where he feels like you're trying to tame him. Because what does a fucking animal do when it's being tamed? Like, it wants to fucking break out of the cage and smash everything, right? Like, men aren't supposed to be tamed. So for the women listening, don't fucking tame your men. Encourage their wild adventure. Encourage them to go out there and do crazy ass shit. And for those of you that are worried that I might fucking die, let me say this. I could also die driving home from the studio after I hit stop on the recorder. Like, I understand that the crazier shit you do, there is a formula to how much more dangerous it becomes. That's why I'm not going to be a wingsuit flyer trying to fly through those natural earth formations that they try and fly through those little tiny holes. Statistically, that's not a good thing to do, right? But also, we can't hide from the things we are called to do because they may come with an element of danger. Dude, fuck that. Fuck that. I've done a lot of dangerous shit and I'm still here. And a lot of you guys, probably every single person listening over 40 probably has the story about the time or two that they almost got. That's part of life. And maybe I'll have some more of those stories after this voyage. But that's what we do. That's Rye, though. That's the Viking rune of the journey. And that's also going to be the name of our boat. So, super excited to keep you guys posted. Nice short episode. I got to run. We will be back next week with Jennifer Anderson and Jeremy Newsom.